8, 7 feet.
Yeah. Awesome.
No. Isn't that weird? Yeah, I guarantee you said there is nothing in between. And I was on board, there is a level.
Turned out.
And you start.
Everything you say is positive, but it was real cool. You see, well, hey, he's talking about
My daughter, she graduated college and got a job and then she bought a house. Well, not moved, she had some home improvement.
another character.
Right.
Just like that black. I saw him because he.
I never said.
Because you were agreeing.
I never said because he did wife.
So you never responded
I mean,
to my idea of that. So now you're saying you agree with my idea of that?
That there's something in between music like that.
Yes.
I think that there are focus.
James had a soul to just asked to walk up. And that girl was his wife.
That's my whole point.
It was Tia Leone,
It's not.
his wife. And he had 3 kids. And this whole marriage is a chance.
He's also a two-way.
I'm not used to all
A
that.
lot of role players are only.
Oh yeah, and then everything got sorted out in the end because at the end he met he meets.
I could have
back and forth. Normally he
20 other guys.
did what you did together and they start.
Remember the first one that came
They're
to my
walking somewhere and the angel was playing chess in the park.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. So today we're here to officially welcome former Lion James O'Connor back to the club as the new head coach for Orlando City. Joining him on stage is the GM for Orlando City Soccer Club, Nikki Budelich, who will get us started with opening remarks today. So with that said, Nikki, can you please elaborate a little bit on the search to find our new coach and why the leadership group felt he was the right fit to lead this club?
Well, thank you, everyone. It's my pleasure today to welcome James to the club. I know it was a difficult decision for him to leave Louisville, but from our perspective, we're very, very pleased he's decided to join us. He's a young and exciting coach who's proven himself in the USL, and we feel that he is the right combination of hunger and experience to join us at this point in our history. We know, and I know, that he has the passion that matches that of our fan base, of our city, and the ambition of our club. So with that, I'd like to introduce James.
Thank you, Nikki. James, delighted to have you here with us today. What has the past 48 hours been like for you, and what are you looking forward to now?
I think obviously it's been an emotional roller coaster. I think everything's happened so quickly, but just real excitement when you look at the quality of the players here. Where you look at the soccer club, when I look at the supporters, I think for me it was a massive decision. But I think the affinity I have with Orlando, obviously coming here originally from England, the supporters. We had a great time here. We obviously helped the transition from USL to MLS, so it was a really exciting opportunity for me and one that I was determined to take.
Thank you. At this point, we will open the floor to questions. Please raise your hand and introduce yourselves to Nikki and James, please. We'll get started up front.
Coach, I'm Jordan Culver with the Orlando Sentinel, Pro Soccer USA. Coach, first off, welcome to Orlando. When we had last spoken with Alex Leitao, he had made it clear that the expectation is for the coach to come in and win now with the roster that is currently constructed. How heavy is that pressure on you, and is that a challenge that you are embracing and looking forward to?
I think you have to embrace every challenge. I think anyone who knows me knows that I'm very hungry. I'm determined to get success. So I think the biggest thing for me is sitting down with the players, trying to establish a relationship with the players. But when I look at the quality of the players that are here, I'm generally really excited. I think it's like everything in life, you have long-term goals, but if you look at the long-term and you get a little bit confused and frightened, it creates maybe an inability to achieve it. I think what we need to do is we need to really narrow our focus. There needs to be a short-term focus, and that needs to be on LA this weekend, and everything needs to be geared towards training and making sure we're prepared as best we possibly can for LA. And if we can keep getting the short-term right, then that'll look after the long-term.
Mike Around with MLSsoccer.com. This is actually for Nikki. As well, Alex said last week that obviously there was a lot of applicants for this job. How were you able to identify as James as the person to be in? Why do you think he was the right fit? Obviously, he has a connection with the club, with his past, but what other attributes did you see in him to kind of make that final decision?
Yeah, I think it was important when we started the coaching search to identify someone that could satisfy our needs short-term and long-term. I think with James and what we felt we needed was strong leadership, someone that was familiar with the club and could hit the ground running to help us in the short term. But I think from my perspective, looking at the long term, James's philosophy and identity definitely is someone that will build on what we started to establish.
James, Joe Kepner with WFTV. How do you walk into a locker room with a group like this, a lot of veteran players, but they've been struggling recently, and convince them that you're the right guy to turn this around?
Look, I think the biggest thing for me is developing a relationship. I think the players are going to make judgments on any new coach that comes in. I think you have to earn their trust and earn their respect. But I think equally there's determination from the players to go and enjoy the football again and to get back to winning ways. So I think it becomes irrelevant really about myself and to some extent the players. I think it's more about making sure that we all move together and we get what we all want, which is to start winning games. And I think that's something that, having spoken to a lot of the players, this is a clear determination to try to do that. So I think for us it's a case of narrowing that focus, making sure the preparation is right, that the training is really good, and that we go and we make sure we get maximum effort against LA on Saturday.
James, Michael Citro from the mainland. Is it helpful that you already have a relationship with Dom Dwyer coming into this locker room?
I'm someone who I've got tremendous belief in. I think he's one of the best strikers in the league. I think I'm fortunate that I was able to play with him, and I realise how good he is. I mean, he went on that great record for us at the end with that championship in the USL, and then went off to Sporting and started ripping it up there. So I think when you look at Dom and you look at his attributes and his ability to score goals, I think when you look at some of the players we have, the quality that's there, I think the confidence is something that needs to be brought back to the team, and I think a togetherness really with the supporters, and really try and marry everything together where we all get back on the same page and everyone gets together. I think that's something that I'm going to be very intentional about trying to do. I think it's a fantastic football club. I really do. When I look at the the players that are here, I look at how special this place is, and I want to make sure that we all get back on the same page. We get the supporters, we get all the players, and we really push and we get going.
James Adam Shadow from Fox 35. How difficult was the decision for you, and did the losing streak factor into your decision at all in any way?
It was a huge decision, to be honest with you. I mean, the people in Louisville are fantastic. John East is someone I have immense respect for. The players, and honestly, there would have been maybe other MLS opportunities that I wouldn't have left Louisville for. I think people don't really understand just what this club means to me. We left England and we came here in 2012. My wife and Amy, Ollie and Maisie. It was a massive decision to come here, but the way we were welcomed here, the way we adapted here, we felt really welcomed by the supporters, by the football club, and we have a real affinity with this football club. So for me, there's a desperation to try and bring success here. I look at the opportunity that is here. I look at how passionate the supporters are. I look at the ownership group. I look at Nicky, and I've been really impressed with everybody, with Alex and with Flavio. So for me, there's a determination to try to bring everyone together and to really go and get after things here.
Yeah, for Nicky and Coach O'Connor. Nicky, James's connection to the team, he played with the USL Pro Championship team. How much of a factor did that have to do with him being hired?
Well, I think it was an advantage to be able to hit the ground running and be familiar with the club. But beyond that, I mean, it was really about him. I think for those of you who look at his record in USL, you can see that he's a winner. But for us and for the rest of us that know him as a person, you know that he has a winning mentality. He was a born winner. So for us, that was the most important.
Also for James, the last two coaches that were here both say they were fired prematurely. Does that concern you, the impatience level among management?
No, look, I think in life you can choose to focus on different aspects. I think the biggest thing for me is focusing on what I can control. So I can try to control the quality of training. I can try to control the level of preparation, and they're areas that I really spend a lot of time focusing on. I try to focus on things I can control and things that I can influence and impact. So if I can get that right, get the short term right, then the long term will look after itself. I'm not going to focus on what's happened previously or what may or may not happen. It's just focusing on the short term, and really the biggest thing for us is focusing on the next game, and that's something you're going to hear a lot from me. It's always the next game and the next opponent, and that's something we really need to focus on.
Go back to Jordan.
Coach, when the fans come into Orlando City Stadium, what type of soccer should they expect to see? What type of tactics do you plan on employing with this club?
Well, I mean, I think when you look at our philosophy, we have an alignment. I think this club has been brought up on attacking football. I think that's the biggest thing, and it's used to winning. I think certainly in my time here, it's always had a winning culture. I think obviously the transition to MLS, there's been a huge desire to continue that, and I think that's something that I'm desperate to try to bring. As regards, will it be exciting, will it be entertaining, that's how my teams play. We want to be aggressive in how we attack, we want to score goals, but equally we want to keep clean sheets and we want to win games. So it's trying to make sure that there's understanding of defensive transition and what that entails, and then making sure that the roles and responsibilities are laid out, and that people can get a good understanding and then action it and make sure that they do that.
James, obviously you brought your assistant from Louisville, Daniel, over. I'm just kind of curious on the roles that Bobby and Tim will play. Or what do you see? What kind of role they'll be playing with the club going forward?
I can speak to that. So the decision was made that James will bring in Daniel. And some further announcements will be made. Bobby and Tim will no longer continue with the first team, and further announcements will be made as they're confirmed.
Are there any additional questions? We'll go back to Mike Bianchi.
Yeah, James, Adrian Heath obviously coached you. What did you learn from him? What is your relationship with him?
I learned a lot from Adrian. He's someone I have tremendous respect for. Obviously, it was a fantastic time with Adrian, with Ian. I think he's someone that I have enormous respect for. I loved how he attacked. I loved his philosophy. Really enjoyed my time under Adrian. Learned a lot of attacking principles, and someone that I've got enormous respect for. Himself and Ian, and that was a great time for us. When you look at the team, you look at the players. It was something that I'm very proud of, and he's someone I've enormous respect for.
We'll go back to Adam Shadoff.
James, from an outside perspective, although you have some ties to the club when you were at Louisville, what did you see going wrong, and what are some of the things you think need to be fixed from this losing streak?
I think confidence is obviously a massive factor. I think when you're on a run like that, I think confidence plays a huge, I would say, a part in it. I think when you look at the quality of the players, I think that you get the old cliche about form being temporary and class being permanent. And I think it's trying to remind the players just how good they are. I think when you look at the quality that they have, it's something that really excites me and really encourages me. I think when you look at the support base that we have here, the opportunity to create a real passionate atmosphere where teams don't enjoy coming to play in Orlando. I think that's something that we need to do. So we need to get the supporters, the players, everyone back on the same page and make sure that we're all pushing in the right direction. But as regards what's gone wrong, it's too early to come out and say, I believe this has gone wrong or that's gone wrong. And I have zero intention of coming out publicly and sort of saying this is what I think should have happened or all the rest of it. I'm going to be judged on how well I do and on the results that I get. And I really just want to focus on LA and making sure we're prepped and ready for that first game that we can really get after that.
And I believe there was one final question from Marty.
Marty for 24 Flicks. Jason said he created his dream team. Do you feel that this is your dream team also?
Well, I've had one morning of training with the players, so it's pretty hard to say it's my dream team after one morning. But am I excited by the quality of player that's here? Without question. I think when you look at the quality of the players that are here, I think Jason deserves an awful lot of credit for obviously the players that are here, obviously Nicky and Alex. So I'm really excited by the players. But equally, they've been on a tricky run. So it's trying to figure out really what's caused that run, what's happened, and how quickly can we find a solution together, and then can we turn it around and start winning games and get where we want to get to.
Thank you, James and Nicky. At this point, I'd like to ask you to please stand up for some photo opportunities.
Just stand here.
Thank you both for being here, and thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.